Hello everyone, first let me introduce myself. My name is Naila Arief and my study number is 2513042082. So today I want to review the book that I just read. The book is called Personality Development by Swami Vivekananda. This book is actually a compilation, which means it's not like one full story from beginning to the end. It's like more like someone collected all of Vivekananda's talks and writing about personal growth and put them all together in one book, which is honestly for me, it's both cool and a little overwhelming at the same time. I only read the first half from the introduction up to the chapter called How to Work, and I have a lot of feelings about this book. So the part I like the most is the part that really got me is chapter called Take the Whole Responsibility on Yourself. The main idea is simple, stop blaming other people for your problems. Everything that happens to you, even the bad things, you had a part in it. And the only person who can change it is also you. Vivekananda says sometimes like I'm responsible for my fate. I'm the only one who brings good to myself, and I'm also the one who brings evil. And honestly, that really hit me because most of the time, when something goes wrong, we look for someone else to blame, like our friends, our family, or bad lucks. But this chapter is basically saying no. Look at yourself first. I was a little defensive at first, but the more I thought about it, the more I agree. That chapter really stayed with me. And now, for the confusing part, I have to be honest here. A lot of this book is written in a very peace. A lot of this book is written in very philosophical and spiritual style, and sometimes it's really hard to follow, especially for me, as someone who is still English learning academic English. The chapter that confused me the most was different layers of personality. Vivekananda starts saying words like stula, sharira, suksma, sharira, atman, ahamka, chitta, or buddhi. And I was like just staring at the page like, okay, I think I need a dictionary and a philosophy degree to understand this. I know these are Sanskrit terms and they are important to these ideas, but he used them like everyone already knows what they mean. If you have no background in Hindu philosophy at all, that chapter is going to feel really confusing. A little more explanation will have helped me a lot. And then the questionable part, this one is from the chapter Pleasure is not the goal. In this chapter, Vivekananda says that people who chase pleasure like comfort, enjoyment, having a good time are basically living like fools. He even says only fools rush after sense enjoyments, and I was like, okay, but that feels a bit too harsh. I understand his point that real happiness comes from growing spiritually and intellectually, not just from physical enjoyment. That makes sense, but saying that race and simple happiness have no value at all, I don't fully agree with that. Not everyone needs to be on a deep spiritual journey every single day. Sometimes people just need to relax, and that's okay too. I think this chapter could have been a little more balanced. And finally, the most uninteresting part for me is like the introduction. It spends so many pages explaining how the mind works, the manas, the buddhi, the chitta, and there's even this long metaphor about a chariot from an old scripture. I know it's there to set up the whole book, but as a first time reader, it just really felt really heavy and dry. I was only on page 8 and it already feel like a lecture. Compared that to other self-development books that open with a story or real like explanation, We like an example, something that makes you curious. This book doesn't do that in the beginning, and I think that makes it harder to get into at first. And okay, so wrap things up. I think Personality Development by Swami Vivekananda is a book that is worth reading, but you have to ready about you have to be ready for it. It's not a like or easy read. It's deep, it's philosophical, and it's asks a lot from the reader. But when the message lands, it really lands. My biggest takeaway from this book is you are responsible for your own life, not in a way that blames for you for everything, but in a way that give you power, the power to change, to grow, and to become better. And I think that is a message everyone needs to hear. So if you're thinking about reading this book, maybe start from the chapter It is personality that matters. That's where it starts to feel more alive. Then go back to introduction when you're really comfortable with the writing style. That's my refer that's my review for today. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you find this helpful. Thank you very much.